Hi, I'm Jazz, and this is All That Jazz, and I talk all things recovery and life. So, boundaries is a huge thing for self-care, self-love, etc. And there are also two types of boundaries. There's my internal boundaries, and there's my external boundaries. So, in recovery, I'm working on my recovery. One example of an internal boundary is going to be, say I'm wrong about something. Okay, it doesn't mean that I'm bad. It doesn't mean I take on shame. 2, say there's a disagreement. This disagreement is happening. I just can't get them to see my side. Why am I trying to get them to see my side? We're not on the same page here. So it doesn't mean that I am less than. 3, eye rolling. Say there's some eye rolling going on at me and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm starting to feel less than. Like, what am I going to do with that? So that's another internal boundary and I'm going to go over it. Feelings, separate feelings, internal boundary. Say there's their feelings, but my feelings are now becoming their feelings. So an internal boundary for me is to learn how to have separate feelings. And when it comes to external boundaries, here are 4 other examples of external boundaries. I can get off the phone when I'm at my limit. I can leave the dinner table when I've had too much, or maybe this is just not a good this whole situation is going awry. All right, so maybe I leave. And number 3 would be, say maybe I don't want to see someone at a certain party or a certain meeting. I don't have to go to that meeting. I don't have to go to that party. I don't have to go to that function. That's an external boundary. And number 4 is, for me, one of these is not commenting on one-sided conversations. So now I'm going to go into these a little bit more. The first example about, say I'm wrong about something and I found out that I'm wrong. This person told me I'm wrong. It could be anything like maybe I thought a certain function started at a certain time. I was adamant that it was at 10 o'clock. And then they said it was at 9 o'clock. And then I find out that I'm wrong. It doesn't mean that I'm bad. And that's not a very good example, but it doesn't mean that I'm bad. It just means like, oh, I'm sorry. Like I made a mistake. It doesn't mean that I need to persecute myself and talk down to myself. And I can't believe I did that and feel shameful. I don't have to feel shameful with my mistakes. I can start to learn that my mistakes are something and that my shame is just a feeling that, it could be a go-to feeling, something I'm used to feeling when I'm making mistakes, but I can start changing that. I can start feeling a little bit of like guilt for the thing I did, but not go down the spiral as like, I'm not good, I'm bad. So this would be like working on an internal boundary to try to have a healthier internal boundary. So this really helps me. Like I'm really changing the things that are happening in my head to help keep my heart safe, to help keep my mind thriving and recovering. So the other one I had was a disagreement. So it's okay for 2 people to be right. It's okay for 2 people to disagree. So when I'm having a disagreement with someone, and this started off really rocky, I didn't like to disagree, and I've gotten better at being okay with disagreements. So 2 people can have a side to things. And it doesn't mean that I'm less than now. It doesn't mean that because my point of view is not received by the other person, that what I think and believe to be true doesn't matter anymore. There can be a disagreement and I can still think, you know what? I still believe the thing that I believe. And I can say that in my head. I don't need to say that out loud. I can just wrap the conversation up nicely, not in a stonewall ignore-y kind of way, but just, you know what? We're at a disagreement here. And then start letting that silence come in and, surrendering the conversation to being like, we've hit a point here. It's not moving forward. And it doesn't have to be that the other person should agree with me. And it doesn't have to be that I should agree with them. It actually can just be 2 people that just have their own beliefs on the topic or the thing or the way that it should be. That we're actually not at a conclusion here. We're not at common ground. Or maybe we need to take a break. But it's not to take a break to get something down the road. This is just to be like, I'm okay that we have a disagreement. And I'm okay with the truth that I still have on this topic. And not changing it because I should change it so that you don't get upset, so that this is better for our relationship. That's not why I change my beliefs and my values and the things that I think and the things that I agree with. I don't change that. I don't start thinking I'm less than because they didn't like that idea that I had or they didn't agree. So it's just keeping that my value stays with me. It's not determined by the other person's belief system or what they think. I just let them go, let them be the way they think. And then I start exiting that conversation nicely and quietly. And sometimes just more silence helps. Not extreme, but just like backing out, slowing down. I think we've hit a point here. Maybe we can pick this up another time. Like buy some time there, put some distance there. So I find that really helps. What happens when you have eye rolling at you? Contentment. Someone just going like disbelief and they're just disgusted with what you've just said. Well, then it doesn't mean that I'm too much. So my internal boundary could be that maybe this person is making me feel like I'm too much. Maybe they're gaslighting me a little. Maybe they're in their own denial. And they only see it the one way. Well, that's okay. I can detach from that. When that eye rolling happens, it's about them. It's about them, that they're not in control of something, that they don't like what's happening over here. Maybe it's to cause a reaction in me. But when I see that eye rolling happening and we're in some kind of conversation, or say it's a family function, an auntie, whatever, or the in-laws or the mother is just eye rolling all the time. Like what I do with that is that's their stuff. Okay, but I'm okay where I'm at. I don't have to look at the eye rolling. If I can help it, try to get away from the eye rolling. But the point would be to say something different in my own mind. So it doesn't mean that I'm too much. And I used to think that a lot. I used to think that you know what? I'm exactly the way that I am meant to be. I am exactly created the way that I am supposed to be. So when someone else is not okay with that, I don't care anymore. I just go, well, they just think whatever they want. Like I completely just cut the rope to letting them go. They can think whatever they want. So I get to be too much if I want to be too much. If I'm too much, then that is the way I am. I am much. I am many things, and that is okay. I am standing in the light. I am being the light. I am being in your face. Well, that's the way I am, and that's okay. I am shining the way I shine. I'm not trying to hurt anyone, but the point is that when someone's making me feel like I'm too much, when someone's eye rolling at me, like trying to trigger that disbelief in me, trying to get me off my post, trying to get me off my mount, I just stay on. I just own that I'm not too much. Maybe they're having an issue where they're feeling like they need a break or it's too much for them. Something's too much for them. It doesn't mean that I'm too much for them. There's nothing wrong with me. The other internal boundary that I could have is separate feelings. So someone is disappointed with the thing that didn't go their way. Okay, so they're disappointed. Can you come with me to that thing? And you say, oh no, I've got something else to do. And they go, oh, and then they shrink a little in their seat. And they're disappointed. They go into some sulk mode. So if anything, it's a little bit of childlike behavior. Someone didn't get what they want. They're stomping their feet. They're sulking. The thing to do here is to just not start feeling disappointed because they're disappointed. I'm still having a good day. I still like my plans that I made for today. I'm sorry that didn't go the way you expected. I don't go over there and I caretake them. I don't start offering solutions and ideas. I don't start saying, are you okay? Like, well, you know what? Maybe I'll change my plans. I keep to myself, say, sorry, no, I can't do that today. I don't justify and explain. I just say, sorry, I can't do that. I can't do that today. I don't need to explain. And I don't need to take care of them. Their feelings are their job. Their life, who they are, is their job. Now, and I'm my job. I thought that was I was a little sad to learn that in the beginning days. Oh, I'm the only one to take care of me. But there's also that great freedom in when I take care of me, I also don't have to take care of everybody else. They become their job again. That's their life and their feelings and their thoughts. So I just have to focus on how am I doing? What do I do for me? So this is great freedom in a sense, because now I'm not, leaving me to go take care of you. You're taking care of you now. So I'm giving people their stuff back. So this is like, feelings are great to have. They need to happen. They need to flow through, but they need to be separate. So I'm going to start getting into trouble when they're disappointed and sulking, and then I start going and melting into that disappointment. No melting. I just go, what was that feeling I was feeling before this happened? Can I at least go back to that feeling? I still feel okay. I still like my day. My plans are still valid. What I want to do is still matters. Even if this person is starting to negotiate my day. Well, you have nothing going on today. Like, why can't you just come and help me or cancel that thing? No, sorry. No, thank you. That's it. And then I just keep staying on my path. Let them do the little dance. That's all that's happening there, is the dance to get you to change your mind, to join their dance, right? So I just watch the dance now. Like, so the dance is going to be, they're going to have their emotions, then they're going to maybe say some things to make me change my mind or change my plans. And I just continue to not get involved. It's just a dance that has to happen. It'll be over soon. I say my no thank yous. And if I'm about to leave, then I just leave, or we need to go into a different conversation. So those are four boundaries that are internal. These are my 4 internal boundaries. So now I have some examples for 4 external boundaries. These ones are a little easier. They're out in the world, they're at my work, they're with my kids, with my spouse, my partner, my parents, the grandparents. Like, my external boundaries are like the limits that I have out in my external world. And those internal boundaries are all about my internal world and my internal safety and my feelings and stuff like that. My energy, like where's my energy going? What am I giving out? What am I refraining from giving out? I'm being more careful with that. It's very sensitive and fragile. It's worth protecting. Now, to the external boundaries, say I know that I'm going to enter a phone call conversation that is going to be a little exciting or could be a little bit aggressive. This person, I know this about this person, and I usually feel uneasy by the end of the conversation, or I can't get a word in. It goes on and on. So I know that about this situation. I'm sure lots of people have those kind of people in their lives. What happens is I'm responsible for my limit. I'm responsible for my own safety, which means I either need to tell this person, hey, I only have 5 minutes to talk. And then if that doesn't work, maybe I need to have someone else come in that says, hey, we got to go. Or maybe I could set an alarm on my phone, like some kind of distraction. Like, until I get really good at making those boundaries, I can help myself by creating things that are going to help me meet that boundary need, so that I can be successful with this external boundary. So I get off the phone, I say a time limit warning, and then I try to get off the phone. I can take what that person has said last, repeat it, and exit out the conversation. So they said, oh yeah, I was just out taking the dog for a walk and I'm just going to continue talking. I say, oh yeah, you were just about to take the dog for the walk. Well, actually, that's great. I do have to go. So I just grab part of their conversation, say it a little louder, and then exit, like say my goodbyes. I gotta say goodbye. I have to go. So that could be like a phone boundary. Another one, and this is external boundaries, is someone I used to talk to once would always yell on the phone, like in my ear. And I would just be jarred on the other line. And it was as if they were yelling at me. And I was getting all upset because it was so aggressive. And I just don't like that kind of stuff. So what I had to do with this person was, it sounds like you're really busy. I'll catch you another time. So that's like an external boundary. Like I'm in charge of making these things happen. I can't just stay on the phone and absorb all that, or stay on the phone and only listen to the other person talk. If I'm not into doing that, if I'm going against myself, and I need to make the change, if I want to make that change, if I want something different. Another thing is, say at family dinner times, like, I maybe I only have the capacity to be there for a certain amount of time. I'm allowed to leave whenever I want to leave. So that would be like an external boundary. Say I go to a party or a meeting and there's someone there that I don't like. Maybe it would be better for me to go with somebody. Maybe I could go to a different meeting. Maybe I don't go to that party. That's an external boundary. And lastly is when there's conversations with someone and it's very one-sided, it's all about them. They just talk about themselves the whole time. Maybe I don't need to get into that conversation. I can just refrain from it. I can listen, I can watch, I can take care of myself. I can try to talk to someone that has more reciprocation, but to try to force my way into conversations where that person just wants to talk is not necessary for me if I want to have that peace in my life. If that's not a good conversation for me to try to get into. So knowing where those one-sided conversations are, and just not engaging, not trying to force my way in, and just letting that person be the way they are. So I have the choice to not engage. Like, I have a choice to make all of these little decisions about my boundaries, whether they're big or small, wherever I go. And this really has changed my life, having actual internal boundaries and external boundaries. So this is like really deep inner work, but it's life changing. It's really added to the quality of my life. So this is just a bit that I know on internal boundaries and external boundaries. The internal boundaries are harder because I'm just up against myself. And when I get on the phone with my sponsor or a friend and talk about these things, then I can also work with someone else about what's my frustration, what's it telling me. Maybe they might have a few suggestions of where I could have some boundaries, but to just keep open, to ask even my higher power sometimes, like what am I supposed to do here? I don't know how to handle this person. I'm having trouble getting off the phone. Like send me the words. And how, the answers are going to come if I reach out to my friends, reach up to my higher power, and then really look in and listen to what's happening with me. Because boundaries usually start with a feeling of frustration somewhere. I need to have a boundary somewhere. I'm over a limit here. And I have to want these boundaries to happen for me. I have to want this. If I don't want anything to change, I can just stay and complain. But this is about really taking ownership and really getting responsible for myself. And there's more than just external boundaries. There's a lot of internal boundaries for me to do too. But this is how I get that quality of life, is by working on this stuff. So I hope you can do it. And thank you so much for being here. And I'll see you at the next one. Okay, bye.